I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, author Jeff Marinelli is talking about his book, You're Right, I'm Wrong, which provides a unique approach to improving relationships. Jeff shares his insights on how to repair damaged partnerships, outlining the step-by-step process, a blueprint, if you will, tools needed to achieve a happier, more fulfilling life with your partner. We're delighted to have Jeff on Spotlight today and ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Logan, thanks for having me. I'm excited about this interview.
Same here. How can love so right turn out to be so wrong? We've all sang the song. We all go into it with good intentions. What do you see as perhaps the number one reason relationships fail?
Vulnerability within the partnership, expectations of each other is probably the number one issue, which affects a partnership in a big way.
And when you say
And
expectations, do you mean like the expectations are too great that this person is supposed to fulfill more of you than is humanly possible?
well, you've now entered another individual's life, and you've got the way you've lived your life with your expectations of how you want to live and where you want to travel and what you want to eat and how you want to, to the simplest tasks. And your partner has those same, grew up a different way, and all of a sudden you've got two human beings with two different philosophies in life and attitudes and personalities that have now come together, that those have to be meshed. And so the expectations of, meeting your partner's adapting yourself, or what I call cooperative change, to, meet your partner's expectations, but also not go overboard where you've lost your, how you feel like you want to live in life as well. And those are the expectations that can damage a relationship if they're not met.
Let's talk about the title of the book, You're Right, I'm Wrong. Is it important to admit that you're wrong? Is it important to apologize in order to keep the feeling and connection between the two partners?
Look, I use the word "you're right, I'm wrong" in a really different kind of tone, and it's not. Nobody wants to admit that they're ever wrong. Um, the reality is the words "you're right, I'm wrong" is more about what I call putting yourself back on the same page with your partner. It forces you to rethink, oh my God, my partner's not happy with this, or can I do something differently? And so it's not that you have to admit that you're wrong, but sometimes you have to admit that you're not on the same page with your partner, and that's obvious if you're having a knockdown drag fight and you really don't understand what has happened. And the reality is somehow you guys are not on the same page, and it's really important to get on that same page, and that's what this book is all about.
Absolutely. Communication, you point out, is one of the skills that you need for a happy relationship. Tell us how important it is to be able to communicate well. And it seems like guys are more lacking in this department than women, I presume.
Yeah, and I write about the 4 lessons that we knew about, but we never practiced and improved our skill sets, right? And communication is one. Making the right choices of, day-to-day choices is another. Asking the right questions with your partner when you really don't really understand. We're not one to ask our partners enough questions when they're not happy. And then compromise. It's another. So, but you mentioned communications and communicating on a daily basis. I'll pick up the kids, I'll pick up the groceries, or I'm overworked, or I have absolutely no time. Sometimes we get so busy, we think it, but we don't say it. And because we don't say it, or we almost expect our partner to think, in fact, we actually know what they're thinking or the answer to it, which is a lot of cases, which is what creates this not being on the same page problem. And so
What
yeah,
about
communicate.
boredom in the relationship? That dreaded 7 year itch that you hear about. You're tempted by somebody in the office or somebody at the club or whatever it might be. Temptation seems to be a downfall for a lot of people as well.
Yeah, but let's go back to what the 7 year itch really is. You've been with your partner. What are you bored with your relationship? Is your partner willing to, change and adapt as you've adapted? I mean, what really changes in a partnership, like everything else, is we change as people and we grow as people. And did your partner grow with you? And if your partner did not grow with you, obviously there's an issue and you're going to find yourself as an unhappy partner. So the 7 year itch it's taken a long, the first 3 to 4 years is always great. It's the honeymoon. And then now we get into real practicalities. Are we having children? Are we traveling like we want? So the goal of this book was really written to be practical on how do we deal with our challenges that we have in life, and how do we keep our excitement going and the happiness within this partnership. So we address that within this book. But
Absolutely. I love that about this book, that it's like an instruction manual for your marriage. It's comprehensive. It's like a blueprint. You actually give daily tools that people should incorporate into their lives to keep their relationship strong, good, healthy. Tell us about some of those daily tools or practices we should incorporate into our lives and our relationships.
Yeah, let me back up just a real quick piece. Is the book's written in 3 parts. One is it gets into why the relationships go bad, and it's the 4 mistakes I refer to as the 4 mistakes we make. Neglect and ignore would be one, and then false expectations and white lying and entitlement. And then I get into, and I've got two other chapters within that. I don't need to go into detail, but the third part of the middle part of the book is where we are and who we are and where we are. And I talk about our need. You have 2 people and you have different needs, and I talk about those needs within this book. And then the last part is these tools, because if you understood where the mistakes went and you understand where you're at and who you are and what your needs, expectations are, and the book again is written a little bit more that your partner reads it and they know they have to adapt, and you read it and you have to adapt. So basically it's written for both individuals to communicate and compromise together. And then of course, then what I do then is give the tools. And I always say so there's 32 tools, and I've got 16 baggage tools. And a tool could be, when you're making, the family tool, when you're making commitments with the family for the holidays, ask your partner first. So the tool's partner first. But again, and so I break it down, and I've got questions to ask your partner. I've got the problem, and I've got the questions, and I've got the solution. And so I walk everybody through how to solve that issue when family is important to you, and you just have to communicate a little bit differently with your partner. But one last topic is, you mentioned that this was a blueprint for our relationship. And that's exactly what this was. We get married and we sit with our partner, but we never really sat back and asked our partner, how they were within their childhood, and their father and their parents and their sibling, and how they rank within the family. Because if you're the golden child or the black sheep of the family, or something as dramatic has happened to you and you've suppressed it, well, your partner now is dealing with a lot of these issues that they don't even know you have. And your partner could be triggered by any one of these at any given moment, and you really just don't know when or why they're being triggered by this. And so the book really dives into addressing those issues as well. And that's that blueprint book format you mentioned.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's a wonderful book. It's called You're Right, I'm Wrong. It's written by Jeff Marinelli, who every time he argues with his wife now, he says, listen, I'm actually right because I wrote the book. And there's the book there. It's a great book. It's a great resource. The website for the book is on your screen as well. It's in the links below. Jeff, thank you so much for writing this book, for sharing your thoughts with us, for taking the time to really analyze relationships and get to the heart of the matter.
Logan, it's been an honor, and I thank you.
My pleasure. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.